Welcome back to Collectively Connected. Today we're diving into a topic that's been stirring up quite a bit of conversation. Is American democracy on the brink of collapse?
It's a question that's hard to ignore as political rallies become more spectacle than substance, distracting from critical issues like healthcare, education, and economic stability.
We're examining the disconnect between politicians and the people. So we find ourselves asking, why isn't there more focus on the genuine solutions?
We'll also discuss the lack of excitement around Kamala Harris and the Biden administrations, and how distractions and media manipulation are diverting our attention from key issues like inflation and interest rates.
We will also reflect on the Kennedy family history and the surprising lack of support for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which poses a question. What does this say about the state of our democracy?
Stay with us for a candid, thought-provoking discussion on reclaiming prosperity from political corruption. This is Collectively Connected.
Welcome.
It's a nightmare. It's literally, it's absurd, okay? Between Meg the Stallion twerking at Kamala's rally and the Incredible Hulk ripping his shirt off at Donald Trump, like, this is what they think of us. This is how fucking stupid they think we are. We're currently dying of diabetes and cancer and fucking poverty. We're being worked like dogs while we lose our fucking home, and they're turning the election into the fucking Price is Right. Like, let's just be for real here. Our education system, shit. Our economy, shit. Our housing market, shit. Our policies, shit. Our global appeal, that's fucking in the shitter. Our healthcare system, well, that's all variations of the worst shit you could fucking find stacked to the ceiling of our overpriced, poorly built, overtaxed, and soon-to-be overinsured American fucking homes. Is this a fucking joke? Like, Trump peppering in racism to his rally, and Kamala thinks she can win the black vote with fucking twerking and rap music. Right now, they're showing their ass. They are showing what they fucking think of us. Where are the policies? Where are the difficult conversations? Where are the things that are actually affecting my day-to-day fucking life? Because I'm not happy and I'm not healthy. I don't want the Hulk ripping his shirt off or Meg the Stallion fucking twerking. Can I get serious politicians? Because we got some serious fucking problems. Like, what the fuck?
Wow. I mean, she ain't wrong.
No.
She ain't wrong. I mean, I think we're all kind of asking, like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Like, what's really going on around here? Tons of Americans aren't happy. Tons of Americans aren't healthy. Tons of Americans are broke.
I feel like some people are looking at what she's saying and they're like, why is she so mad? You know, we're in the best country. But it's like, there's a lot of people that have no idea what's really going on. Like, if you really take a look at the country in general, it's like, we're screwed. We're not doing very well in anything. Like she said, the education system is shit. You start looking at, we're like dead last. If you look at where we rank in the entire education system globally, we're like last place. We're like a dumb country. That's not good. Who's doing, what are people doing about that? What are they saying about that? Like, that's a huge problem. And you got Megan the Stallion promoting what? You got Hulk Hogan promoting what? Ripping a shirt for what? We got big problems right now. This is not a celebration of what? What are we celebrating?
Well, I think people need to be entertained. I think they're trying to get the people that need to be entertained to pick me.
Is that because people have like a low attention span because they're like addicted to social media and they can't take something seriously? So you have to bring in the circus, bring in the dancing clowns. Shame on the presidential nominees. You're bringing in the entertainment.
I mean, why do you feel like you need A-list celebrities, B-list celebrities at your rallies to bring in crowds? Shouldn't you yourself? We're coming because we want to know what kind of policies you're going to have. We're coming to learn what kind of president you're going to be for the United States.
Right.
And yet you're bringing somebody who's twerking on stage?
Taking a step back, you know, it's really, I'm having a real hard time. Just even, when you're just talking to just regular people, people should be as outraged as that girl was. We should all be as outraged. Like, what the fuck's happening right now? Like, what's really going on that we have this many problems?
Like she says, they don't want to have these difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Why are they only showing us these two options, for one?
Well, it's just because it's a two-party system. It's a two-party system, and that's what people know. And if you have, like you can not been a Republican or a Democrat for the last 30, 40 years, that's all people know. So people don't really ever, they don't even look into the third-party system because I feel like it's such a long shot or it's such an underdog that people don't even acknowledge anybody even running. And I think that's kind of where they put RFK, because the first thing I was hearing, he's not going to win. Third parties don't win. History shows they don't win. And it's like, okay, you keep saying this nonsense, like third parties don't win. Why don't they win? And right. I feel like with where we're at right now, why are we not looking at any other option? Because clearly I've been voting Democrat for 30 years. How's that working for us? How has your wealth increased since you've been voting Democrat for the last 30 years? How has your wealth increased since you've been voting Republican? I don't see people thriving out there. People are broke. They're tired. They're getting overworked. Interest rates are through the roof. Inflation is through the roof. We're bombing other countries. Yeah. Like, all of these problems, and we really have no solutions.
They don't really provide any solutions. And a lot of them, Trump is piggybacking off of some of the things Kennedy is talking about.
I've seen that.
And Kamala is piggybacking off of some of the things Trump is talking about.
Is she?
Yeah. Not taxing the tips for tip workers, where they won't tax the tips. So she's now saying
that's not helping. That's not helping the majority of Americans. Those kind of policies. You start to like hone in on a little bucket, and I'm not like knocking anybody who gets tips, but as far as the majority of people, you're not talking about policies that affect the majority of Americans. And I feel like Trump does it, Kamala does it. You're picking and choosing these tiny little policies, like you're just about to go gung-ho and just make a huge difference on something that really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you're right. But there's so much stuff that they're doing that is going against our Constitution. I'm kind of surprised it's gone this far without places burning down,
Well, yeah, and I think that's when I start looking at, why aren't Americans more angry? Why aren't they more angry? Because it's like, if you're doing this stuff, you said going against the Constitution. We can even look at the Democratic Party. Joe Biden resigned and he promotes Kamala Harris into the spotlight automatically. There's supposed to be a process, which is the Democratic primary, and there's other candidates that never got a shot to even showcase their skills. So when people are looking at other options that are out there, there were other options, and they just got the rug pulled from underneath their feet, and that is unconstitutional. That's basically illegal. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Kamala can get first dibs, but she has to put her name in the hat like everybody else. You host a primary, you're supposed to get nominated from that primary. You don't just get to say, well, no primaries today, I'm just going to be the nominee and we're just going to go ahead and run with it. She didn't even get a single vote. And you have to go through that process. So she's like celebrating like she won, and she didn't even interview for the job. That's not democracy. That's not what our country is supposed to be ran on. That's not election integrity. And I feel like that's being undermined right now by the public. But here's the thing. We're allowing it. We're allowing it to happen right now. It's happening right now. Nobody's saying nothing about it. I'm just surprised that you should be having 1 in every 3 people that are just upset with just the state of the country. We're paying ridiculous amounts of money in taxes. Where the fuck is the money going? I keep coming back to that. Where's the tax money going? Where we seem to have all these people talking about they're going to do this and do that. And it's like, we have more problems now than we had 10 years ago. We have more problems now, and it seems like it's just not getting better. And so when you start to look at who's in charge of this shit, who's in charge of this stuff, and you start to look at what the politicians are really talking about, you guys ain't talking about shit. You're not talking about anything big, because I know Kamala's slogan is like never going back. We're never going back to Trump. That's not a policy.
Right.
That's like a mindset. That's like a mindset. We're never going back. Like, I ain't going back to jail. Like,
Right.
that's not rallying the people together unless you have like a scarce mindset.
I mean, the thing about Kamala, it's like they don't even have policies on their website. Like,
No, you
what
can't
does the
even find it.
Democratic Party stand for anymore?
Even if I
They
was
don't
just
even put it on their website.
even if I was just curious and I just came to America and I just got my citizenship and I wanted to make an educated decision, like, I don't know who's who. Who is this Kamala? Who's this Trump guy? Who's this Kennedy person? I got to go on their website and check them out for myself. They don't even have any information on their website talking about their policies.
Yeah, they just say to donate, which I
Just donate.
Which I find very absurd, because they get so many millions of dollars from these corporations. And I'll tell you, every other ad on my phone, whether I'm on YouTube or Instagram, is Kamala asking the people for money. Like, don't you already have enough money? You're the reason why you're the Democratic nominee now, because apparently the money that was raised for Biden could only go to her. Why are you out here begging for the everyday person to give you money? You got more than enough.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party is going out there, reaching out to influencers and paying money. Paying these people to talk down on Trump, to boost up Kamala, and to make comments boosting the Democratic Party. Like, they're paying people to do this on social media. So it's very deceiving, and I don't like that. If you're an influencer, right, and this is the way that you make money, some people are falling for it. Right. Some people are taking the money because I'm sure they're offering a good amount of money because they got huge pockets.
Of course. If you're an influencer looking to try to make a name for yourself, what are you going to say no? You're going to say no if you're offered $1,000, $5,000 to start talking smack? You'll take what you can get. And so
it's hard to like sit and read these comments or watch what these influencers are doing and even believe, like, is that what you even believe?
Right.
Like, I think people are taking this as it's just another election. People who aren't diving into or aren't really aware of what's going on within this sphere, like, it's important that we understand, and even some of us don't be so easily fooled.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that the Democrats are doing, is they're sitting here fooling us all the time. I bet there's paid actors in their rallies because they can't fill a stadium. Because I'll tell you what, I don't hear anybody out here talking about, oh, go Democrats. I have conversations all the time with people everywhere I go. And I like to ask, about what's going on around the world. And conversations more than likely come to politics because we're all kind of fed up. And not once do I hear somebody talking about they're pro Kamala.
Right.
I hear less people since she's been selected that, like, even if they were pro Biden, they're just kind of really questioning the choice. Right. Who can we trust? We gotta really dig deep of what's important to us individually. And I've said this before. It's like it's more than what just being said online, because all of this, there's so much AI out here to assist in what people can say. There's bots in the comments,
right,
that are not even a human being, just bashing one side or the other. And there's
a lot of low tactics out there.
Yeah.
I feel like when I start looking at, like, when you really start paying attention and just kind of breaking things down, I like to look at, okay, what is their strategy? If I'm in the Democratic Party or campaign, or the Republican, or the Independent, what's the strategy here? And when I'm looking at it, it seems like it's either, number one, they have, like you said, they have a huge war chest of money. So they're just pumping ads out there. Even if you don't like Kamala, you're still getting ads. You turn them off, you're still getting more ads. Like, we're just running this down your throat.
I've been blocking them on my end. Like, I'll go, every time I see one, I block it. And when you block it, it says something along the lines like, you won't see any ads like this again.
Right.
And yet the next commercial break, it's there
An
she
ad
are.
again.
And she's got like 50 different outfits on saying the same
So
thing.
she's just pumping the stuff out.
Asking for money.
Ramming it down
Like
your
she needs
just
money.
cramming it down your throat with all of these ads. So that's a tactic. Once again, haven't talked about policies, what she stands for. She has her VP pick. I don't know too much about him, so I don't want to speak on what I don't know. So I'll have to look into it myself and kind of see what he has done. I know he's the Minnesota governor. I like to always do my due diligence, hear what he has to say before I make any type of decision or, judgment on somebody. But just, if he's in support of what is going on, it probably can't be favorable. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I want to look into that.
Somebody younger. Can we really?
I guess you could say Kamala's probably the youngest one. I think she's 50 years old.
I don't understand. It's just they're making a theatrical of this whole thing.
It comes to what are Americans right now, like what's important to them, and are they really looking into what's being told? Because I'll tell you what, people can easily be fooled. When you really just kind of look at just your average person, they're not really thinking in depth about anything. And if you start looking at social media, you have a short attention span, you're not questioning anything, you're scrolling mindlessly, you're not really actively using your brain. And so when I start looking at strategies and tactics, like I was saying earlier, a good tactic would be to just throw little small distractions. And a lot of Americans who are easily distracted, have low attention spans, don't look into anything. They're being distracted with small things. So when you start looking at Hulk Hogan or, Meg the Stallion, those are nice, shiny distractions. I hope that those distractions aren't capturing the norm, because we need people to really start looking into what people are saying and start looking past the bullshit. Because if you know what the current interest rates are to buy a home, you know what the inflation is right now, you know how much money's coming into your household or not, you need to start saying, okay, I got some fucking problems going on right now. I'm having trouble making ends meet. I need to know what this next president is really going to do. And if you're not asking those questions, then you're a fool. You're a fool right now. And when you do start asking these questions and you start realizing that these politicians are not answering your questions, you should be getting even more pissed. Yeah. You should be getting even more pissed that you're asking, okay, that's cool and all. Yeah, whatever. Beat the Democrats, beat the Republicans. I get it, blah, 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 blah. That's cool. Us against them. But what are you really doing? What can I write down right now that I can have a vote of confidence that you're doing right now that's going to help me in my household right now or when you get elected? And half the time when you look into it, there ain't shit that either one of these guys are talking about. Neither one are talking about nothing. It's blaming this guy. This guy did this person did that, this person's bad. And it's like a little fifth grade, I'm telling, no, I'm not. He pushed me. No, I didn't. And that's literally what it sounds like. But nobody's really talking about what's going to help this country.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I agree with you 100%. Somebody said it best earlier. It's a guy who was on Tucker Carlson's podcast, and he was saying this is going to be a big showcase of how powerful the media is. If one of these two actually gets elected, or if Kamala wins, that is going to show a lot of how strong and manipulative the media is, because they're lying to everyone who watches.
Right.
These poll numbers, they're no
fake.
way.
These poll numbers are made up. Every single time I turn on the TV, even just walking Jim, I don't know why they have the mainstream, but it's like Kamala pulls ahead in one of the swing states over Trump. The next day, the lead narrows and Kamala's barely ahead. It's like you just started announcing your campaign. You still haven't even talked about any policies, and all of a sudden you're pulling ahead.
And you were the least liked vice president,
right?
And the least liked Democratic running mate in the last election.
Yeah.
Like, you dropped out before anybody else because you were the least liked, and all of a sudden they're making her out, the media is making her out to be just this
darling, that she's just been doing great work for a long period of time. It's like, okay, hold on a second. You're talking about all these changes you're going to be making in affordable housing. You guys are You guys are in power right now, and we don't have affordable housing. So why are we going to have affordable housing and all this better world when you get reelected? You're elected now, and we don't have that. Right now, we're sending stuff to Ukraine. And,
like you're supporting another country.
We literally are supporting other countries right now, except for ourselves. But with your vote this time, we'll start looking into affordable housing. I'm not
Until
the smartest guy, but
stop the war. If you can stop the war from here until November, maybe people should get behind you. But you have supported this war in Ukraine and our money getting sent there. The majority of Americans don't support this war.
Exactly.
Regardless of what side you're on. We don't support this war. The dying, the death, the killing needs to stop.
Right.
Period. And here you guys are instigating. We are a government of instigation. We just instigate these wars and it's getting really old, and we are not a country that supports that. But yet our tax money would say otherwise, which that's why we should be angry, because they're making us out to be these horrible people from the country of the United States that love to go around and instigate wars and fight, but we don't. That isn't us. If anybody outside of the United States, that's not us. The majority of Americans, we don't stand behind this. And here we are. Kamala's our choice. No, if you're all the things that Democrats used to stand for, they no longer stand for that. And when are you guys going to get your head out your ass? This has been decades in the making. What is going on right now has been decades in the making. They've been just digging this ditch for decades. They're exactly where they want to be. They're exactly where they want to be. They got the country exactly where they want us. Not doing anything, letting all these things happen, and just nobody is actually making us think about it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a lot of us are just waiting. It's like, what can we do? How do we move forward in the right direction? You know, their tactics are just not fair. They're really not. I mean, we just heard about RFK and the case in New York City.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, we just got to stop and really ask, why are they making this so hard for him? Not just hard for him, hard for America to try to move on to the next phase of our humanity. I think we deserve to feel safe. We deserve to be able to go after our dreams without any red tape. We deserve to have healthy food.
Yeah, the RFK situation really makes me sick. I was trying to find the article when it came out. It just came out yesterday. So basically, he was in court and he was getting sued to get him off of the ballot in New York. And they were basically saying that he doesn't have residence in New York to be able to be on the ballot. So they're basically suing
You mean
him.
He has to live and be a resident in all states to be able to
run for president?
I mean, does Kamala and Trump have residence in all 50 states to be on their ballot?
Exactly.
Who comes up with these rules?
Yeah. So that's what happened. He lost that. He's going to appeal, but basically they're removing him from the ballot in New York. So he won't even, they're trying to get it so he doesn't even appear on the ballot.
He'll appeal that.
Yeah, of course. And he said he's going to win that. But it's like, okay, so how do we get here? And who the fuck is suing somebody who's running for president trying to be on the ballot? If we're in a free country and you like to say anybody can run for president, one day you could be the president of the United States. We have that slogan because Go America. We have that slogan. But if you're really actually trying to run for president, we're not really going to let you run for it, though. We just like to just say the shit because we're liars. Because that's what it sounds like. So it's one of the two. That means we're a country full of liars because nobody can be president. And so when I start to hear people go about, oh, the third party can't win, why is that? The one thing people don't like to admit is because you guys have this little system on here, this little system with your buddies and your friends, and your rich elites. And if you're not part of that little club, then we're not going to let you actually get in here and make a change. And when I think about what Kennedy's doing, he's the only person talking about policies that are actually going to make a change.
Yeah.
And they're suing him.
Yeah.
And they're suing him to where we're not going to give the people a choice to even give you a chance.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now. We're not even going to let the people know that you're an option. So we're going to sue you and not get you on the ballot. This is a free country and anybody can run for president. But since you're running, we're going to sue you and make sure that you don't appear on the ballot.
I think about what is the everyday like Democrat, whoever, if you're out there, those people think of that court system because they say that the judge was part of a Democratic super PAC. Correct. So of course she would be completely against. But I mean, why are they scared? For one, let's ask that. Why are they acting like they're scared, like he actually has a chance if they keep telling everybody he doesn't have a chance? They're acting like they're scared, and they should be scared because he does have a chance. I think America is waking up. I guess what I was trying to say is if you're a Democrat and you're watching this kind of difficulty that they're putting on people, and also if you're a Trump supporter and you're kind of watching this, are you thinking, oh, thank God? Are both sides thinking, oh, good, they won't take away Trump's votes or they won't take away Kamala's votes? Are you guys saying that? Or are you guys actually looking at what it means for democracy, what they're doing? Are you questioning like, hey, that's kind of unfair?
Right.
And actually looking at it from that point of view, because I think if you're going around saying, oh, good, if he's off the ballot, then he won't take away the vote for my guy. You're the big reason why we are in this mess. Because you aren't questioning the wrong in that, just the wrong in it. And they're doing it. They're doing it blatantly in our faces. They're saying, fuck you, your voice doesn't matter. We don't care what you all think. We just want your votes. Just vote for us. Donate to us.
When you vote for who we're going to make you vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Americans are funny because they don't like to be told what to do. We're free. You're not going to boss me around and I've got free will. But you're being told who to vote for. You're being told who the candidates are, because if you were a Democratic hopeful, and let's say I was running for president, nope, sorry, we got this person, Kamala, you're not even going to get a chance to run for president, even though this is a free and fair country.
Right.
Even if I wanted to run as a Democrat today, right now, guess what? You're not even going to get the opportunity. We're going to automatically put this person in. This person's already in there. Thanks for trying, but not going to happen. Yeah. That to me is not democracy. When I think about that, that should make a lot of people mad. That should make, because that's not part of the process. I don't really, yes, I do care who wins, but I want it to be a fair election. A fair election that basically has debates on all the parties, and we're having tough conversations, and every candidate has to sit in the hot seat, because they do need to sit in the hot seat because they're interviewing for a huge job.
Yeah.
This isn't no clown case. This isn't no big pep rally where you get to have your buddies cheering you on, as you're talking about the other candidate. That's not a presidential election. That's a little cool girls club, cool guys club, and you got your little buddies with you. And that's not when it comes to adults. That's why a lot of people don't even participate in these elections, because it's a clown show. They're all clown shows because we can't take it seriously, because this is like you guys have your little buddies against their buddies. And my buddies are cool and we're not going to like your buddies. And that's where people have that mindset, and people are getting away from the issue of, okay, that's nice. Let's talk about some serious stuff now. Let's talk about the serious stuff. And when you start to really call them out, we don't really have much to say on that. We really don't have much to say. And this is the shit show that we're in right now.
Yeah. Sometimes I think, I wonder how Kennedy's feeling. Is he feeling defeated? Is he feeling empowered? And I just keep thinking, he's been preparing for this all his life. All his life. The Democrats and the Republicans have been fighting this family for generations. We're watching a generational feud play out. And I think Kennedy's doing it in such a honest and beautiful way. But I think he's been preparing for this all his life. He knew that this marathon to the White House wasn't going to be easy. He knew that. I don't think at all he feels worried. I think he's like, we get it and we're powering through. This isn't going to stop us. And the fact that like more people aren't standing behind him is, I find it really kind of shocking, because the Kennedys, back when his uncle and father were around, they were for the people.
They were like beacons of hope.
Oh, yeah. America kind of died and stood stagnant since that moment. The fact that we're not rallying behind Kennedy more.
And it's not a landslide.
And it's, yeah.
That just lets you know how much programming people have been to where they have a warped view of who this Kennedy is. This should have been a no-brainer. No-brainer. Immediately collapse of the system, where they almost have to take this guy out because he's so dangerous. But they've done such a good job deceiving people, programming people, manipulating people, that people think that Kennedy's the bad guy. You call him a wasted vote? It's like, you fucking idiots. You guys need to wake the fuck up.
Yeah, we need to wake up, because...
What are you guys looking at? Like this, if not him, you guys are going to get more of the same shit, because we've already had the same shit. We've had Trump in office. Kamala's in office now. Well, she's in office now. This is not like she's going to make it. She's been in office for 3.5 years. What's going to change? We've seen what you can do. We see your press conferences. What's going to change? You didn't get more popular over the last 3.5 years. No. You got less popular. So all of a sudden things are going to be completely different now? That's hard to believe.
See that as like
a wake-up call to look at this person and look at what's going on?
Or how fake the news actually is.
Right.
How does she just come up? All of a sudden she's been on the campaign for a few weeks and she's just this godchild.
And all of a sudden she's just killing it in the polls. She's just killing it. I feel like these polls are all made up. Every single time I see a poll, it just I can't even look at the numbers, because they're deceiving, and I feel like that's another tactic. We're talking about tactics. That's another tactic to get people to, oh man, we got such a nail biter. I gotta maybe tip the scales in favor of Trump, or maybe I should consider Kamala because it's so neck and neck. These polls are fucking made up. You guys wake up.
Yeah.
These polls are made up. Stop being fooled. We talk about corruption. I was talking about that before. That's about as corrupt as it gets. These guys are winning, and the American people are doing nothing, going to work, paying their taxes, and they're slowly dying like a slow death, is what it feels like in the country. And I think it's really sad.
It is really sad. Nobody has the energy to go do something, and if somebody wants to build something, they don't make it easy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it'll get better?
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm always going to be hopeful that things will get better, but I'm also a realist. And man, I talk to people out there, and people just seem like they have no idea what's going on. They have no clue what's going on. They don't even know what side they're on. They don't even know who the bad guy is. That's the thing. I talk to people, they have no idea what to even think about anything. It's like, you don't even know. You're just oblivious. And so when I think about that, I'm like, man, we got a long way to go.
Why do you think so many people just don't have an idea?
I think because, well, number one, you look at what the media is putting out there. There's so much information. There's information, there's disinformation, there's misinformation. So when you're pumping out all of this information, and depending on who you're following, what the algorithms are saying or not saying, you're getting fragments of information. Some of it's true, some of it's not true. And so depending on where you're getting your information from, that's slowly changing your perception. There's a certain narrative that's being crafted, and you're not aware of that. Most people aren't aware that a narrative is being crafted right in front of them. And so if you're reading an article, you're not really thinking much of it, or you're hearing a news broadcast, you're not thinking anything of it. But over time, there's subliminal messages in there that's slowly starting to program you, and it's slowly starting to warp your perception. And these are advanced psychological tactics that are being used. And if you're not aware of an advanced psychological tactic, you're not going to be aware it's being used on you. I'm aware of that because I know what those are. Most people aren't. And so over time, their views just start getting changed to where they don't even know who the good guy, the bad guy is. They might think the person that was a good guy, they're looking at them as like they're the bad guy. They're the threat to democracy. They're the scum of the earth. And that's the person who legitimately is here to help you, to help America, and to help every single citizen. And they are looking at this person like they are just the bad guy of the world. And that's really unfortunate. And that's kind of what's happening with all of this information getting pumped out there. Like you said before, there's influencers being paid to say whatever. Who knows if it's real information, not real? We don't even know anymore. They're just getting paid, and you have everybody saying something, and people just aren't looking into what's being said anymore. They're taking it at face value, and they're forming their opinion, which is basically just helping to further the programming that they're already getting. And so when you start to look at that as a whole, and you start to see the masses that are all getting programmed, it's like, oh, shit, what can we do?
Yeah.
You've got these bad, if the bad guys are controlling the media, so they're controlling what we watch, the bad guys are putting out intentionally misinformation, disinformation. So even if you were kind of curious, let's say you got kind of curious, let me look at what this guy's talking about. Let me really dive a little bit deeper. And you actually do start digging. Now you have a whole wall of all this confusing shit, all these articles that are saying this, saying that, maybe even articles that are being censored from what the truth is. So you're reading all these articles that are pointing in different directions. Of course you're going to believe what you believe. Of course you're going to think that. Of course you're going to think that an RFK is a threat to democracy, or he's a worm brain guy, whatever the fuck they're saying. You know, like, you're going to start to believe it because that's, eats dogs, like all this crap. It's crap. And you're going to start to believe it. And when I hear people, it's like, man, you're actually believing that. And once again, that's a programming that you're being programmed over a series of time from this disinformation, so much to the point that you believe it to be true. And if you
don't even stop to go hear it for yourself,
the questioning. So
because everybody asks him, and he'll answer the same every time, and he addresses it.
And that's literally people being programmed to not even question what they're being told.
I would encourage people, read the whole thing, not just the headline, because when you're out here and you're talking, it's very easy to know that you are one of those headline readers only.
Right.
Very easy, because these headlines...
The headlines are like, they're like gotcha headlines. So once you read it, and you don't even read it, all you need to do is just look at the title and the subtitle, and that's basically, they use choice words to where you don't really need to read it any further.
Yeah.
And so the person who has that average attention span, they're only on social media, they don't even have the time to want to do work like read the article. They've already got their title and subtitle, and they're already good.
It makes me wonder, like, we say this, we say, okay, you guys are being brainwashed. You guys are being programmed. You guys are being manipulated to think that these stories are true, so that you can veer away from certain people and candidates, right? As a person that hears that, do you stop and think, like, am I? Or are you like, oh, these people are stupid. These people don't know what they're talking about. I sometimes think about that psyche of someone's.
So it's interesting. It's interesting you brought that up, because I think, when it comes to like being manipulated, nobody wants to be made to feel stupid.
No.
So nobody wants to be like, hey, you're a fucking idiot. You've been getting fooled all this time. Nobody's going to accept that.
Nobody wants to admit
that, because number one, your pride.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. Your pride's going to kick in naturally. If you've gone your entire life, obviously you're an adult, you've overcome the odds, and you've gotten wherever it is that you are right now, you've gotten there on your own. And so for someone to sit there and tell so you think. Someone to sit there and tell you, saying, hey, every single thing you believe or you've been told is an absolute lie, it's a sham, you have a hard time processing that.
Oh man.
And I think that's where the average person is, because even if they are being manipulated and they start to kind of like see it, they would probably rather keep their heads in the sand than actually admit that, because you'd have to come out there and say, hey, I'm having a mind meltdown because every single thing I thought that I got from the media, or I thought this candidate was the best one, none of it's true. They've been lying this entire time.
I remember,
and I voted years over years, and they've been lying to me. And so when you start to really break that down, it's going to break you. And I think most people aren't ready to be broken, because that's going to break you when you really start to realize what our government's doing, what our elected officials that we put into office are actually doing, that they're lying, they're taking our money and basically hustling us. That's a really hard pill to accept. So if somebody's coming at you, if somebody's coming at you saying, hey man, the government's lying to you, you're a fucking idiot, it's time to wake up, I could see how somebody would think, oh man, this guy's fucking crazy, he's a cuckoo, whack job, conspiracy theorist and all this. I could see how somebody would say that. But deep down, when you start to really question things, you're like, well, shit, man. I mean, something's going on wrong with the country. I don't know what it is.
My kids are sick.
My kids are sick. I'm having low energy. We don't have enough money. I don't talk to a lot of people because of, policy related stuff or vaccine stuff, whatever. Something's going on and it's not getting better. And I feel like that pit inside of people's stomach is where they need to dig into deeper and really start asking themselves questions of how they got here. And most people aren't willing to do that. They'll ignore that feeling, that gut feeling something's wrong. And those are the people that continue the programming. They'll accept the programming. Those people that...
And I feel like right now they're like doubling down on it because their ego isn't allowing them to actually admit that they could be wrong.
Or that they've been on the wrong side this entire time.
And I get it. For those people, it's like a lot of people are feeling just like you. You're not alone. People are waking up. Like you said, when people start realizing, how did I get here? Mm-hmm. How did I allow this to happen? It is a big eye opener when you start to realize that your whole reality is kind of false.
Right.
And it does kind of take you down to your knees a little bit, but you have to be willing to go down. And it's okay. Nobody's going to be mad at you for it. So for being somebody who realize they're fooling us from a male standpoint, because I know males tend to have a harder time just kind of admitting like they were wrong. And what would you say to those people who are having a hard time putting their ego aside and being like, okay, I may be wrong here?
Man, it's really tough, because with guys are so headstrong, and pride is all men have. So they'll live and die by their pride. So it's a hard question to ask, because I'm good at putting my pride to the side to look at bigger pictures. So I know myself better than anyone else. I think the biggest thing is probably I would need to be patient, with someone, because when you're getting some information, and whether it's true or maybe not true, you're not quite sure, or you don't even want to accept it. You don't want to accept this as truthful information. So just that barrier right there, I can't accept this. This is my guy, and I can't see my guy in this type of light. I won't accept it. So right there's a certain belief. And if you have that belief, it's hard to shake a belief. We could talk about your religion beliefs. All that. You don't just, oh, well, now that you said that, okay, I change my beliefs tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. Your belief is your belief. That's what you stand for. That embodies you. So for someone, especially a stranger, to come in to try to shake that belief, good luck. So it's really tough. But I feel like that answer to that question, and I'm working on that answer, I feel like is going to change everything, because the answer to your question is going to be what could hopefully almost free America.
Yeah.
We need to free people from the shackles that we've put ourselves in from all this misinformation. We've shackled ourselves. We've allowed ourselves to be prisoners in our own country, and we're basically voting on who's going to be our wardens. That's how I look at it. As we're slaves in America, and we're voting on who's going to be the better warden.
There's something better out there, and I think we all feel it. And I think we are all starting to reach a point where we deserve it. We deserve better than what these people have been providing for us. Way better. I mean, the amount of taxes that we pay, we aren't a lazy country. They get this much taxes because we go to work.
Yeah.
So we're not lazy. We have what it takes to take our country back. But do you have the right mindset?
Once again, it's who's running our country. Who's managing our money? If you're taking a third minimum of everybody's paychecks, you're taking that in taxes. Where is the money going? And why are we not all being prosperous? It seems like the money's just gone.
It's this two-party system.
Exactly.
They have learned how to steal from us.
And hustle our money. And
they've had 100 years to do it. So they're exactly where they want to be.
And they have a good system for hustling our money. And basically...
And do you think they want to let that go?
Absolutely not.
Why do you think they're running lawsuits on somebody who's fighting against that?
That's right.
To try to get them off the ballot. So all I could say is open your eyes, open your ears, start paying attention. It matters now more than ever. Right. And I'll keep saying that. We'll keep saying that.
Yeah, you're right.
Love to the USA.
Love. Thanks for taking the time to listen to Collectively Connected with me, Damien, and my wife, Denise. Remember to subscribe, share, and join in the conversation. Until next time, friends, stay connected.